Now, as these teachers went out to various new villages, it wasn't easy for them. We sometimes think that it is easier for indigenous tribal teachers, missionaries if you will, to leave their homes, but that's not so. They have their own land, their own gardens, their favorite hunting and fishing areas, their family and their friends. And often, the places they are going to are very strange to them. They are living among people that at one time fought against them, worked sorcery on them. Where they go is far from medical help that we provide. For them, it is a real sacrifice and it takes real commitment. I remember Tawa, one of our teachers. He said, "You know, I really don't have to go. I could stay here. But I feel God wants me to go, and that is enough." And so they go. We have 15 trained literacy teachers and 42 Bible teachers. All in all, they are teaching in 12 villages.
Okay, we've picked one of those villages, and taking the actual footage you shot, we've edited together a very brief clip. We'll pick up the story on the last day of the teaching as the teachers dramatize the life of Jesus. Now, there are some believers in the crowd that have come for this day, but most of those you see watching are unbelievers.
They're beating and whipping Jesus, and pretty badly. All these men that are acting out this story have come from previous villages that here they are portraying the soldiers and the people who mock Christ. People have told me that when they see the mockers, it really grates on them. Here's God Himself being shamed. Jesus is now dead, and the soldiers pierce His side with a spear. For many, when they see the blood running out, they begin to connect it with the Old Testament sacrifice of the lamb. One man told me when he saw the blood, he thought, "Ah, Jesus is the true lamb. I knew it, I knew it." Here, Jesus is being taken off the cross and put in the tomb. During all this time, one of the teachers is explaining in detail for the audience just what is going on. It is important they understand each segment of the drama. The bark door symbolizes the stone being rolled away. There you see the empty tomb. At the very end, we have Jesus giving the Great Commission, telling us that we are to go into all the world and preach this good news to everybody. The life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh atonement for the soul. And then in Hebrews 9:22, without the shedding of blood, there is no remission or forgiveness of sins. He's teaching on Abraham and Isaac and how a ram was offered in Isaac's place. This really drives home the whole idea of us being sinners under judgment, deserving to be punished, and then Jesus dying, shedding His blood to pay for our sin in our place. Okay, now some of the people began to catch on. The teacher asked them, "If you were to die, what would happen to you?" And he says, "I'd go to heaven." Teacher says, "Why do you say that?" And the man answers, "Because I really believe the death and the blood of Christ has taken my place for my sin." Some of those children have really understood the teaching well. They are really sharp. Even the mock teachers were amazed. They'd come back and say, "Wow, some of these little children really know the answers." Even when some of the questions would stump the adults, these little guys would pop up with the right answer.
And this little guy was busy taking notes on the Bible lesson. He was meticulous. And it just struck me. I don't know that I've ever seen children in our Western churches taking notes like that.
All of a sudden, they run out and just start whooping. There's no cultural equivalence to this. It's just a result of a tremendous emotional release as they realize their sins are forgiven. The condemnation of sin, the guilt, the weight and darkness is gone. And then it just seemed to hit them that all their family that has died in the past has gone into a Christless eternity. The grieving is really genuine. This hasn't happened at every place the teaching occurred, but it did here. This. Today, the true God has been gracious and merciful to us. Today, the grace of God, which is very good, has come to us, Moke people, and I believe in Him today. He, Jesus Himself, is our true Lord and Master.
Just like the apostles of old, they are sent, commissioned by the ones who will stay behind and support them. And still, there are many more tribal language groups that have not had a missionary. The men you see here talking to Mark Zook are a delegation that have come looking for missionaries to live with them. They came from a completely different language group. Somehow I believe God intended them to know this good news too. Paul, the apostle, wrote these words 2,000 years ago. They still apply today. Yea, so I've strived to preach the gospel, not where Christ was named, lest I should build upon another man's foundation. But as it is written, to whom He is not spoken of, they shall see, and they that have not heard shall understand.
They came to one of our missionaries and said, "We want the missionary to come and live with us." They meant business too. They had brought, and the Moke had said, "Hey, listen, we want to buy a missionary." Today, the Moke wouldn't even think of buying what they finally got, because now they know that the message of the Bible is about a free gift of salvation provided through Christ's death on the cross and His resurrection from the grave. That is a bargain they can't help telling others about.
Mark never taught the Moke people this song. He's not sure where they heard it. But our video crew found out that we only had to sing a song once for them to remember the tune. And to this particular tune, they put their own words to glorify God. Our camera crew could not be totally objective as we worked on this video. Just being among these people does affect you. The last day we filmed an old man named Lapide. This old fellow was in such poor health they didn't even know if he would survive the teaching the first time. But he did, and he became a believer. After the Moke teachers began to go to the other villages, he asked if he could go with them to teach the old people, making sure they understood each lesson. And this he has done, climbing mountains, crossing rivers, going from village to village to help teach the older folk. Take a good look at him. The next time you'll see him, you'll be in heaven. Lapide died only a few weeks after this footage was taken. You know, I do believe if the strength of a church was to be judged by its young and its old, then my conclusion would have to be that we should be the learners and the Moke believers should be our teachers.